Welcome to the Purpose Driven Mom Show. Here at A Purpose Driven Mom, we believe that it's possible to manage your home, work on your personal goals, and grow and scale an online business. Most productivity tips out there tell you to hustle more and make you feel shame about not being motivated enough. And we're here to dispel this myth. I'm Cara Harvey, and I am on a mission to help work-at-home moms realize that they have the power to go after their dreams, take care of themselves, and manage their home without perfectionism, guilt, or having to sacrifice their sleep. If you're ready to shift your thinking around productivity and get some practical tips to help you manage your mom life, toss your earbuds in while you fold the laundry, and let's do this. Welcome to this podcast / conference recap. This is going to be episode 429, so show notes will be over at apurposedrivenmom.com / podcast 429, but I'm also putting this inside our conference portal. So a few weeks ago, we had our Purpose Driven Mom conference. It was experience, getting to meet these people, getting to share in their stories, help them with their vision, their goal, and really level up their planning because they're so aligned with their vision. Was incredible. It was an amazing experience. It re-energized me for my business, for my own goals, for my own vision. And one of the things we did was a coaching session. And I had a bunch of questions here. If you're watching on YouTube, I have all the stickies here. I couldn't get to them. And I wanted to make sure I answered them for the conference attendees. So I figured I would just turn on the mic and I would share them with you because maybe you have a similar question. So this episode is going to be a hodgepodge of variety of questions, from kid things to working from home to time blocking and more. If you want me to do more of these episodes, let me know. And thank you to the conference attendees who are watching. This is going to go in their conference attendee portal with all of their things in it where they can watch the replays and things like that. So let's talk. All right. So my first question I have here: when you realize that you are burnt out, how do you recover or fix it? All right. This is a big one. I've got a sticky here on that one. One of the sessions we did at the conference was about burnout, is identifying your signs of burnout and what do you do. And one of the things I put inside their workbook was a kind of a litmus assessment that I encourage you to take every quarter to just see if your score moves up or down. When you start to notice that you're moving into burnout, let's talk about reactive versus proactive. I can tell physically my body is exhausted. I start to get sick more often. I know that I'm not feeling 100%, and I start to feel resentful towards things that normally bring me joy. These are my signs of burnout. So once you can identify what they are for you, what do? Step one is I'm in it. I feel it. I know it's happening. I take a pause. I give myself a rest day. I know that there's lots of things on my to-do list. I know that things have to get done, but instead I choose to give myself a rest day to just get my head together, to take a nap, to take care of my body, to physically feel better. These are all things to take care of my body, to physically feel better. These are all things that I need when I'm on this road to burnout. And so when you're in this burnout place, I highly encourage you to take a rest day. And in that rest day, not only physically rest your body, but I would say mentally rest yourself by making your quadrant brain dump list, by making this to-do list of all the things that are plaguing you, all the things that are on your mind, all the things that are running circles around you that you can feel yourself getting resentful, getting procrastination around, all of those things. That way you can identify what are areas I'm feeling burnt out and what are things that are on my plate, and then take that list and ask myself, what can I delegate? What can I get off my plate? What can I say I'll do this later for? And start to move them off your plate. I then slowly re-entry myself back in. So coming off the conference, I am exhausted. I'm taking a nap every day. I'm doing less and slowly bringing myself back this week. I took all of last week off. I showing up for a little bit. I'm going to show up for this first time block of my day. Then I'm going to take a little bit of a rest, and then I'm going to come back for a little bit of work. And then tomorrow I'll show up a little more till I'm back on my quote regular schedule. This helps me re-amp after feeling like the burnout's happening. I want to chat with you now and invite you to grab one of my top free resources that have been downloaded almost 4,000 times, and this is my ultimate weekly planning checklist. If you are ready to go into your week feeling less frazzled and more in control, this checklist is for you. It's going to help you set up your week, save time running around, and plan out all the time you need for you, your goals, your family, your business, the whole thing. It's the exact same checklist that we use in the Purpose Driven Mom Club every Sunday. And not only do I give you the checklist of what to follow to plan your week, but I will give you a Trello board if you want to use Trello with it, absolutely free with a video tutorial. It is going to take you less than 30 minutes a week to plan the week and save you hours. If you want to go and snag this checklist, you can go to apurposedrivenmom.com/podcast checklist
and it'll be there absolutely free for you. Again, go to apurposedrivenmom.com/podcast checklist and get your copy.
Now, proactively, what do? I make sure that I'm putting time in for myself. This is reading my book. This is my self-care. This is the things that fuel me up. I always share that my rest time is in the morning when I'm exercising, when I'm reading, when I'm journaling, because I start my day with rest so that I have the energy in my tank to go. So ask yourself when you look at your schedule, how much rest do you have in your schedule? And if you don't have enough, I would add it in. All right, so let's go to some more questions. We talked about this one, which was boundaries. All right, screen time. We did talk about this in one of our coaching, but I want to add some additional tips. Screen time boundaries for our kids. This is what's really important, I think, with screen time is one, identifying what you want it to look like. Because what your screen time boundaries are not my screen time boundaries. So it's identifying what do I want it to look like and why do I want them to be that way? What do I want it to look like and why do I want them to be that way? Right? I want screen time boundaries because I want more time with my kids. I want screen time boundaries because I just want them being more creative and on tech less. I want screen time boundaries because I don't like what they're watching. I want screen time boundaries because I know that there's, detrimental benefits. Or no, detriment, that's the other way around. There's struggles. It's struggling. I'm trying to think of the word. It is not great for kids to have the screen time, right? So what is it? Identify what it is and why you want it. Then you come up with your vision. So like any goal we work on, what is your vision? What is your plan? What is the thing that you would like it to look like so that you can roll it out to your family after you've identified it? So going through and saying, I want them to have screen during this time. I want screens to look like this will allow you to roll it out to your family. We talk about all the times we go to have the family meeting and you're like, I'm doing this and I'm changing everything and nobody gets on board because it's so extreme. Make a more scaffolded plan. Instead of saying, find your baseline, do a time audit. My kids are having X amount of time on their tablets, X amount of time on their video games, X amount of time on the television. This doesn't feel aligned for me, so this is where I'd like it to go. All right, my kids are playing on the Switch for 4 hours a day. I would like it to be 1 hour a day. Instead of going from 4 hours to 1 hour, let's slowly bring it down. So make a plan for yourself. All right, we're going to go from 4 hours to 3.5 or even 3:45. Right? To 3:15, to 3, until we get to a place that feels good. When you scaffold any goal this way, it doesn't feel as heavy. It doesn't feel as much. It actually feels easier. And a lot of times I don't even notice. And just some other tips for what we do with screens. My kids have a Switch. There's an app. Let me see what it's called. It's called Switch. It's orange. Switch Parental Controls. And it's a Nintendo app. And what you can do here is, this is what my son plays. If you're watching, you can see the video. So I put a time limit on it. And when the kids hit the time limit, it beeps. Now you can see here, they have a 1 hour. And my kid has already hit the time limit for today because he played this morning, right? So he's done. On Saturday, he played 2 hours over the limit, 4 hours. Now, this wasn't just my son. We had football. We were at the field all day. So I let my daughter play on the Switch while we're at the field because she's there with her brother. I'm okay with it. It's an outlier, as you can see. I'm like a little nervous to scroll. Yeah, see, then there's 2 days they didn't even use the Switch. So it kind of goes up and down. So you can see here the outliers, right? These were weekend days, a lot higher. It is what it is. It tracks it. So we use this. I also limit the shows my kids can watch. My kids aren't permitted on YouTube. So they can watch. Prime has YouTubers who have TV shows, like Mr. Beast has a TV show on YouTube that my son likes to watch, but it's already been vetted. Nobody's putting any weird stuff in it. It's still Mr. Beast, so I still have to watch and have conversations around it. But I actually think Mr. Beast is not a bad dude. He donates a lot of money. I don't know. So I limit what I am comfortable with them watching, and YouTube is just not one of the ones I'm comfortable, right? So I make these hard and fast rules. I also, for me personally, I don't love a lot of the Nickelodeon tween shows that are very sassy attitude. There's always the idiot dad trope. I just don't like it. So, and I notice my kids' behavior is worse when they watch it. So we just don't watch it. They're permitted to watch these channels. They're permitted to watch these things. And it just makes it easy for us. We have conversations when that sort of stuff pops up, but knowing and having a vision and then putting some hard boundaries, I make the Switch alarm is the bad guy, right? Alexa's the bad guy, right? And it allows me to make those without having to be oh, your time is up. My kids know their time is up. They're supposed to get off. Do they always? No, they don't. But they know that, and now it's been conditioned. All right, next question. I have a 7-hour block every day. How can I break it down naturally? So time blocking, love time blocking. But here's one of the problems is when we have a too chunky block, right? There's too much time, then there's not enough urgency. So I always say for time blocks, I think a sweet spot is between like 3 to 4. I think a sweet spot is between like 3 to 4 hours. I have a time block from 9 to 11 p.m. It's 2 hours. It's shorter. On the weekend, sometimes I have a time block and it goes from 9 to 1. It's longer. Not a black and white rule, just is what it is. So my thoughts on big time blocks is making a break in between to chunk them out. Because if you just say, oh, I'm going to do it by the end of the 7 hours, we know that we're just going to put it off. We're going to keep putting it off, and then we're going to keep putting it off. And then all of a sudden it's 15 minutes and we've not done anything. So I recommend you break that into 2 blocks with a natural transition in between. My most favorite way for breaking time blocks, I was going to say best, but it's just my preferred, is to do it around meals. So I break most of my blocks up either around meals or in my natural anchors. So my first block is when I wake up at 6 to 9, which is when my kids have been dropped off at school, natural anchor. Then I have one at 12, which is when I typically have lunch, 9 to 12. And then 12 to 3 is when I stop work to go pick up my kids. Then I have one from 3 to 6. 6 is when we go to activities. Then I have one from 3 to 6. 6 is when we go to activities. And then 6 to 9 till they go to bed. And then 9 to 11 when I go to bed. So for me, the natural anchors work. So look at your day. When am I eating a meal? In that 7 hours, you're eating a meal, right? I would break it up then. The reason I recommend breaking it up is because then you can create transition times inside of your day where you're taking a walk. This goes back to that burnout, right? Like taking a walk, doing things for you. You can do all those sort of things because you're refueling. When you have too large of a block, you're not refueling, you're not re-energizing yourself, you're just kind of going on autopilot. And that isn't actually going to push you towards your goals because you're going to get overwhelmed. So natural anchors would be the best way to break them down. All right, let's see. I want to make a work schedule, but I'm not sure what to do all day. So should I just list the tasks as categories or should I do a full inventory? This is great. So if you have a new task, a new job, a new piece of your work that you're doing, I always recommend you start with the time inventory, which is this episode. At first, I was like, oh, I just have to record this. Not just have to, but I get to record this for conference attendees. And I was like, I can double duty here and do a podcast episode and put the questions out. This will be helpful to other people as well, right? But I would write down podcast episode. In order to do this was an easy one. I looked through the questions beforehand, but I didn't make an outline or anything like that. So to just record this episode, it's probably gonna take me about a half an hour from starts to stops and things like that, looking up things if I want to pause. Okay, so I inventory that, a half hour. How long does it take me to outline if I have to outline? How long does it take me to make these images or write these emails, things like that. So I always start with that. What this allows me to do is it sees like, wait, I didn't realize I wasn't even doing planning for these things. Maybe I was planning to record the podcast episode, but I wasn't planning to outline the episode. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about research I had to do or, books I wanted to look up before I recorded, things like that. This will help you make your schedule. So I do recommend you start with a time inventory. Now, what a time inventory is not going to tell you, though, is the things you don't realize you should. It's just going to tell you what you're already doing. So we start with the time inventory of what I'm already doing. Then we do another kind of fill in the gap. So once I've done my time inventory, I then take the time inventory and maybe I make lists where I'll say, okay, these are the main categories of my job. Okay, so for me, podcasts, social media, email marketing, content, administration. If I have a project I'm working on, I'm going to be working on the summit when we worked on the conference. And then I list all the tasks that I do each week that fit that category. Okay. Then I can look at it and say, what's missing? What am I noticing I'm not doing? And then I can add it in because it's like, oh, crud, I forgot that I should be doing these things. I then take that to make my schedule by looking at how much time I need and how my category is. So if I have club tasks for the Purpose Driven Mom Club, for example, and I want to get those club tasks done, and I notice that I need, on a typical week, I have a couple club tasks I do. We have a strategy for reaching out to members we haven't seen in a while. I do a little work with Jamie, who's seen in a while. I do a little work with Jamie, who's our lead coach, on club things we have to do. I would say club itself, outside of my coaching, right? Because those are set appointments. I probably work on club tasks about 3 hours a week. I might refilm videos, read surveys, things like that. So I need to find, that's 3 hours. Okay, I need 1 block a week to work on club stuff. So then I look at my schedule. I give myself 9 to 12 on Mondays or whatever it is, and that's when I work on my club things. As I'm doing my club tasks, when I notice I'm doing something, especially when I'm in the thick of it, I actually am probably going to do this. I'm thinking, you know what? I think I might redo this to reset my quarter because I've been really off my time blocks because we've just been in conference mode. So I might actually do this where I'm doing my inventory and then I'm checking along with the inventory and be like, wait, I forgot about this. Wait, I forgot about this. And I'm adding to it to streamline it. Okay. And then that helps you streamline it, but don't get stuck in the inventory. All right. How do you work with the fact that so many people have no idea what align even means? All right. So I'm thinking this is like our stakeholders, right? Like I always talk about making aligned decisions, right? Like are aligned. This week, I'm going on a trip. I have things going on. I'm coming off post-conference. Alignment is going to look different than it's going to look in a couple weeks, right? So I think what's important when we're kind of bringing our stakeholders into alignment is knowing what you want, is knowing your vision. I have this goal and this thing I want to do. And I said this to my husband last night. I was like, I really enjoyed, we had a conversation. We haven't gotten to connect in a while. And instead of saying like, why don't we connect? I tried this thing I saw on TikTok. And so I said, we had a morning coffee chat. And so at night, I wanted to be like, we never talk anymore. Like I wanted to say all that. And instead I said, I really enjoyed having coffee chat with you this morning to catch up. It really like made me happy. And I would like to do more of that because it fits like what's most important to me right now, which is you. And it was a way of explaining alignment to him. I realized that I wasn't feeling out of alignment in my marriage because everything was awful and we had to burn it down. It was because everything was awful and we had to burn it down. It was because I just craved a little bit more connection with my husband. I didn't need 9 hours with him. I don't need a date night. Like I'm a pretty independent person. So like I don't need as much time as maybe somebody else does, but I do need to check in with him every day. I do just need that like, hey, I'm here. You see me? Like, what's up? Let's talk. And so I realized that's what alignment meant for me. And I had to enroll him in that vision. So I have these conversations with people when I want them to see what my alignment is. But if I'm not secure in what I think it is, the conversation's not going to go well, right? They're not going to understand. So I think part of it is starting with you and then rolling it out. Okay, good one. How can I decipher the difference between I need a nap versus I need to take a nap to avoid something? All right, back to our burnout. I'm saying this in real time right now. I've been feeling really congested this week. And as I'm talking, I can like feel it. I'm feeling very tired. And in my brain, literally before I got on this, I was like, oh, should I take a nap? I was like, should I take a nap after this, like a quick little power nap before I go on with my day? Like just to rest? Or am I like being quote lazy? Am I not doing what I should be doing? And this is how I process through it. I ask myself, how's my body feel? My body does feel very tired right now. I'm feeling the congestion. It's like setting in here. It's not comfortable for me. So I really feel like a little bit of a rest could do me good. But when I say like nap, I mean like I'm in and out in 30 minutes. Like I'm not taking a 3-hour nap. Like I'm taking a power nap. Okay, maybe. Well, then the second question for me becomes like, what else is on my list? Like what needs to get done? And I look at my urgency and I'm like, ooh, I actually do have a lot of things I have to get done. Does this 30-minute nap like fit with my alignment? Does it fit in with what I need? Will it refuel me or not? Questions I ask myself, right? I'm super excited to pause for today's sponsor. One of our club members, Mayela, has the incredible site where she makes bags and purses and perfect gifts. And as you're getting ready to get your stuff for the holidays, action and sustainability, you're going to want to check it out because she's got handcrafted bags and accessories. She made these adorable, so cute pouches for our attendees at the conference, and you're going to want to grab one during your holiday shopping sprees. These are made with fun, vibrant fabrics. Each one is handcrafted to fit into your life and into your bag, or create a new bag for you to carry around. You can support a small business, choose eco-friendly products, and it will be designed with you in mind. She will customize anything that you want. These ones had our logo on them, absolutely adorable. I want you to go check her out. You can go to shop.mylasbags.com. That's shop.mylasbags.com. But the other thing, the question here is like, how am I know if I'm using it as a procrastination tool? Notice a pattern. Do you notice that every time you have certain activity, XYZ activity, you're like, oh, I need to rest, I'm tired? Because if you notice the pattern, then you can know it's avoidance. I love a good nap, so I'm never going to say don't take the nap. But I also know that I also will use napping as a procrastination tool when I'm not feeling motivated or inspired. So I instead might try something else. So after I'm done recording this is the actual internal dialogue I'm having right now with myself. I'm going to go run a quick errand. I have to go do my CVS pickup. So I was like going to do that later because I typically don't run errands like right in the middle of the workday. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get my CVS pickup. I'm going to come back and have my food. I'm going to have some lunch and refuel myself in a different way. I'm going to transition my body and I'm going to see how transitioning my body feels. If I come back from CVS and I'm still feeling dog tired, I think I could use a little bit of a break. And that's the way that I know. All right, let me see which two. We got two left. Okay, I'm going to go with this one and that one. All right, so we're talking about Enneagrams. One of the conference sessions, amazing. Lori Palau did it on Enneagram. And this person said, you're a 3, I'm a 5. I don't even know what it means to make a decision by feeling. How does it work and how can I practice this? So yeah, feeling. How does it work and how can I practice this? So yeah, I definitely can be more feelings based because I just want to move. And 5s are very factual, very fact based. They need all the information before they make the decision. And I think part of this is starting to learn to trust yourself. And for a while, I would not make decisions by feeling because I didn't trust myself. And I think part of that is building that muscle. So there's a couple things you can do. We talked at the conference about change resume, like writing down all the ways that you've changed. What if you wrote down a trust resume? Like all the things, every time you do something that's you leaning into your intuition to prove to because what really you need to do is prove to your brain that it's safe to trust yourself, right? So you prove to your brain that you can do it. So what if you start there? The other thing I always share with the intuition, I joke about the flipping of the coin, but I really use it all the time. One of the easiest ways I started to trust myself more was in tiny decisions and not the big life ones. So I would say like, what do I want is this, tails is this. And I'd be like, cool. Like this is, I know, I wanted to wear jeans and a t-shirt or jeans and leggings or leggings and a shirt. Heads this, tails this. I get the leggings, I'm like, put the jeans on, right? Trust yourself a little bit more. And then also ask yourself, like, what are these other small decisions that I can make to branch out? So what if it starts with what I'm wearing and it moves to what we're eating and then it moves to like deciding on an aligned choice? What if it's choosing a goal and saying, this is the goal that I feel like I want to work on and I'm going to work on this one first and we're going to feel it out. The other reason that I like to do all these reflection tools that we do though, because I think they let you tune into your feelings more than typical. I think they allow you to say like, what did things feel like? Feelings before facts, right? Now, sometimes I like to be facts over feelings, but if you're trying to learn to trust your intuition, do the reflection process the way we have and put your feelings over your facts. All right, final question that I didn't get to, ideal morning and evening your facts. All right, final question that I didn't get to, ideal morning and evening routine for kids. So we're going to start with we know ideal for you is not ideal for me. I'm going to share with you what we do. I'm going to give you some structure because I know this person's asking because they want structure, but also know that you can make whatever decision you want based on your family. All right, we say that. Okay. I think bookends, your morning, your evening routines are the most important routines you do in your day, right? Those are the two things that set your day up for success, the evening routine, and start your day off right. They're also the only two things that are probably the most in your control because as soon as the day starts, it's like, we don't even know. So let's start with the evening routine because I think that's actually the most important one you start with because it's going to set tomorrow up. In an evening routine, I suggest that you have, and you can do the same for your kids, something to close out your day, something to plan for tomorrow, something for yourself, and something to set up tomorrow, close out your day, and something for you. So can you do the same for your kids? So I think for my kids, something to close out the day, that's like, let's take our showers and brush our teeth, right? Like, let's close out our day. Dessert homes or not, we're a dessert home. So they have their snack, they watch their show. That's how they kind of wind down before bed. Going back to the tech question, ideally, I probably would like to have less tech before bed, but that's just not where we're at. So it is what it is. They pick something they want to do for themselves and then something to set up tomorrow. So for my kids, they pack their snack the night before and they put it in their book bag. They also pick out their clothes for the night before. We tend to do this on Sundays, but if we don't, they do that. If my kids have an activity, my son plays football, right? So he needs his football gear. He makes sure his football gear is laid out for the next day. This is empowering them to help themselves, okay? So that's part of their evening routine. My kids' morning routine. Again, I don't care about the order it's done. I just want it done. So for my kids in their morning routine, we have a chart that we use. They have certain things they have to do or they cannot watch television or play on the Switch in the morning. My son will get up very early and he will do them all because he would like his tech. And I'm fine with that. I do not care. I do not care if he has his whole do them all because he would like his tech. And I'm fine with that. I do not care. I do not care if he has his whole hour of Switch and then watches Mr. Beast all morning as long as he's done his things. So my kids have breakfast. Now my son can make his own breakfast sometimes. Sometimes I make it depending on if I'm up, when he gets up. Breakfast, 8, cleaned up. Get dressed, brush your teeth. That's all. That's all my kids have to do in the morning. And then they can have their tech and then I don't care. So that's ideal for us. Maybe you're like, I know Jamie, for example, on our team, her kids don't have tech at all during the school week, right? That's a aligned decision they've made. So that might look different for them. For me, in the morning, because that's also my rest time when I'm working out, I don't care. Go watch TV. Like, it doesn't bother me. So those are the things. But know that ideal is ideal for you. This is fun. I like doing these AMAs. I might do more of them. Maybe I'll like put it up and you can ask me any questions. Thank you to the conference attendees. I'm going to put this in your conference portal. If you're watching on YouTube, you're listening on the podcast, it is purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 429. You can check out show notes, any links. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
This episode of the Purpose Driven Mom Show. If this episode served you in any way, we would really appreciate it if you headed over to wherever you listen to podcasts, hit that 5-star and leave a review and a rating. That's how more moms can find us and we can grow our community. If you had a tip or an aha, make sure you come over and tag me at a Purpose Driven Mom on Instagram and share it with your friends. The best way for us to get this message out there of less hustle and less shame and more intentionality is for you to share it with people you know need to hear it. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you, and I can't wait to connect with you more outside of the podcast.